So today we'll be doing a Bgmi test on 5G but on 90 FPS this time, since I've been getting a lot of requests for this, and also I think this phone is more suitable for 90 FPS gaming. Like, it is supposed to give you more stability than in 120 FPS. So let's see the battery drain and the heating and of course the FPS stability in 90 FPS on the Samsung S24. So as usual, this test is on 5G, Jio 5G this time, with the fan speed set to number 3 with no AC running of course, and the phone is on One UI 8 currently, and I'm shooting this at the night time. Hence the area or even the room temperature is around 27 degrees Celsius as of now, with the brightness at around 25 to 30%, which I forgot to change before the test began, so sorry about that. The battery is sitting at 95% as I had to install and set up Bgmi again, hence that 5% drop in battery percentage while doing that. And the starting temperature was at around 33 degrees Celsius, but as soon as I launched Bgmi, it went up to 35 degrees Celsius. So we'll be taking that as the initial temperature. Now I will first play 2 arena matches, then 2 TDMs, and then a full ranked match, hopefully. So starting with first TDM, where the temperature was still at 35 degrees Celsius, with the FPS juggling between 85 to 90 FPS. Mostly it was between 87 to 90 FPS, which is pretty good, but it's too early to judge. And after a few minutes, the temperature went up to 37 degrees Celsius, but the FPS was mostly again around 85 to 90 FPS. Yes, only for once, like for 1 second or so, I did notice it to go below 80 FPS, but for most of the gameplay, it was at around 85 to 90 FPS. And at the end of the first round, the temperature was at 37 degrees Celsius, and the battery was at around 93%. So a 2% drop in one arena match. So we'll continue with another arena match with 37 degrees Celsius initial temperature, and again the story was mostly the same. Again hovering between 85 to 90 FPS mostly, but yes, by the end of the second arena match, the temperature was at 39 degrees Celsius and the phone was getting warm and the battery was at 90%. So a 3% battery drop this time. Anyways, let's start with the TDM match next with 90% battery and a 39 degrees Celsius initial temperature. And here the FPS was again hovering between that 85 or 87 to 90 FPS, and this time I hardly saw it to go below 80 FPS or even touch 80 FPS. And after the first TDM match, the temperature went back to 38 degrees Celsius with 88% battery now, so again a 2% battery drop. And if you guys remember the 120 FPS test on 5G, it was dropping to around 3 to 4% in one TDM match. And continuing with the second TDM match, and yeah, my skills are shining a little bit, but I don't play this game a lot. How long do you guys play? Do let me know. And yeah, after the end of the second TDM match, the battery was at 86%, so a 2% drop again with a temperature of 39 degrees Celsius. So if you wanna save some battery and get a better frame rate consistency, then at least for TDM matches the 90 FPS experience is much better as compared to the 120 FPS. I mean, the 120 FPS wasn't as bad obviously, but yeah, the 90 FPS is a bit more stable. But for a casual gamer, you won't notice that big of a FPS inconsistency, but yes, you will notice the battery life and heating difference, which will be more while playing this on 120 FPS for obvious reasons. But before giving any conclusions, let's continue with the test. So continuing with the proper ranked match with the 85% battery, as I was setting up a few things in the background, and the initial temperature was around 39 degrees Celsius, and it was taking a few extra seconds to start, maybe the season's ending or something as of making this video. And at 39 degrees Celsius, it was getting a bit warm, especially around the camera region, as the chipset is usually fitted around that area, but wasn't uncomfortable or anything. But one thing I did notice is that the temperature dropped to 37 degrees Celsius as soon as the match started without dropping any brightness as such or even the FPS. So it is trying to maintain the FPS and heating, and it is doing better than in One UI 7. And if you are thinking that the display bezels are looking weirdly thicker, it's because I have applied a screen protector with those black borders, which I realized after applying was uneven, hence this weird thicker looking bezels than what it was initially. And after around 15 minutes into the game, I got killed as usual and didn't get revived, but happy to tell you that the temperature was maintained at around 37 to 38 degrees Celsius with a stable FPS of 85 to 88 FPS even during close fights. So that was pretty good gaming, I would say. But yeah, still I wouldn't recommend anyone to get a compact phone for gaming, especially with a metal and glass back material on a phone. And in those 15 minutes, the battery dropped to around 5%, and I left this match to start another one with 80% battery and a 37 degrees Celsius temperature. But the temperature quickly rose as soon as I dropped from the plane in the second match, and this time I got dropped onto the even place, which was good for checking the FPS even better, and I saw it to go down to 82 FPS for a second there, but gained back the FPS back quickly. But again, while on this close combat, I did saw it to go at around 83 FPS, but quickly recovered back to 85 to 88 FPS again. And for most of the match, this was the case, going down to around 83 to 85 FPS while fighting, and normally was around 88 to a max at 90 FPS with 38 degrees Celsius temperature mostly. That is until I crossed around the 20 minutes mark, where this started to feel warm, and I saw it to reach at around 39 to 40 degrees Celsius, but the FPS was mostly the same. For like once, I think it touched at around 80 to 81 FPS, but mostly again it was at around 85 to 88 FPS. And I finished the match, or rather was forced to go back to the lobby, and this gameplay almost lasted till the very end. Like I think we were the third remaining squad, and after that 32 minutes I saw that the battery was now at 68%, so a 12% drop in about half an hour in the classic match, with the temperature now at 40 degrees Celsius. So in total for more than an hour of gameplay, the battery dropped from 95% to a 68%, so a 27% battery drop in about 1 hour and almost 10 minutes of gameplay, even though in between I was also setting up the controls and replied to some calls for like 5-7 minutes, so you can say it was like around 25% battery drop overall. But in my past test in 120 FPS, if you have seen the video, it seemed the battery dropped lower with around the same temperature. So that's a bit weird, but again I'm gonna test and again tell you what is going on actually in my 1 month review of this phone. So obviously you are getting a bit of a better gameplay with 90 FPS, but I'd expected a bit better battery life than in the 120 FPS one, but it's around the same, which I didn't expect it. So in conclusion, if you want better FPS stability, play this in 90 FPS, you will get better stability than in 120 FPS, but don't expect a better battery life than in the 120 FPS one. But again, won't recommend this to any heavy users or gamers, as the battery life wouldn't really satisfy you, especially for daily long sessions of gaming. I will test this again as I said and let you know in my 1 month users review soon, including the charging test with its original charger. So stay subscribed for that, and sorry for the delays in video. You can watch this one to know about the 120 FPS gaming here, or this one to know about the battery life test after the One UI 8 update. Do watch these, and as always till the next one, this was Ridib. See you guys.